First of all, I'd like to say thank you for everybody being here. It's quite a crowd. My dad would be pretty impressed. My father was a big part of my life. He was very special to me. So I've written some things that I thought I'd like to share with you. It's a short eulogy. Unfortunately, I'm a hopeless emotional romantic, so instead of me sloshing through this and failing miserably, I'm going to have my daughter help me through this, and she will be sharing my thoughts with you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Aaliyah, Jim's granddaughter. My dad. My Uncle Nick always called him James. Others knew him as Jimmy, and sometimes Moose. Uncle Jim or Grandpa, and for my mom it was always Daddy. But for me and my brothers and sister, he was always Dad. My dad was born October 14th, 1925 in Brewster, Pennsylvania. He grew up and went to school in a town called Altoona, also in Pennsylvania. He grew up and as a young boy, he sold newspapers and helped my grandfather paint and hang wallpaper. He was the eldest of 9, and growing up in the Great Depression, he had a lot expected out of him and was asked a lot at a very young age. It was hard times, and that's probably why he never talked about his youth much. In 1941, my dad enlisted to the Navy. He changed his documented age from 17 to 18 years of age, and with some help of his father, he was in. He was now on a new and exciting adventure to serve his country that he loved and leave the hard times of Altoona behind. During his 4 years in the Navy, he sailed through the South Pacific to places like Guam, the Philippines, Marshall Islands, and others. I'm sure it was an exciting time for him, as well as an unsure of what tomorrow was bringing. He served on a transport ship as an on-deck signalman and a storekeeper. He saw action in the South Pacific, as well as witnessing firsthand the devastating destructive remains of Pearl Harbor after the attack. Although we tried, Dad would never visit Hawaii again. When I could get him to talk about his military days, he would tell me that dang war had taken a piece of him with it. He was honorably discharged in 1945 in Dallas, Texas. From there, he moved to California to be with his family. After a few different jobs, he joined the construction industry as a painter. And he served his apprenticeship, became a journeyman, then a foreman, eventually working for a large construction company called Harlan Lee. As a superintendent, he was in charge of the painting division. My father met my mother in the late 40s, and by 1950 they were married. Together, my mom and dad had 5 children, which are all here today. One of my childhood memories growing up was my dad opening up the pizza house in Abraham, California. He would work there at nights after his busy day job. My mother some nights would take us kids to the pizza house. In front was a big window where everybody could watch my dad make those delicious, mouth-watering pizzas as he twirled and threw the dough in the air to make the dough perfectly round. It was a lot of fun for us kids to watch, but a lot of work for him. One weekend, my dad would bring my brother and Jim and I, to help clean up the place. We would take the day-old dough to the parking lot and have a pizza dough fight. I think we made more of a mess at times than helped my dad. Oh well, we were kids, he didn't seem to mind. Later in life, I asked my father why he closed down the pizza house, and in my dad's blunt way of saying things, he said, there was more money walking out the back door than coming in the front door. Needless to say, he had. He eventually moved us to Thousand Oaks in the early 60s. What a great place to grow up. Hiking, biking, motorcycle riding, school. We were in heaven, thanks Dad. This is where he started his own painting and drywall company. He was proud to be the owner and president of his own company. It grew to be very successful, and at the same time he became president of the Painting and Decorating Contractors Association of America, the Ventura chapter. Later he came on to work with my brother Jim and I, where he was always a big help and always there for us. My dad had a lot of hobbies and he was very active. In his younger days, he was an excellent bowler. He had told me that he could have been professional, except for the fact that work and his bowling, he had been gone a lot, and my mother wasn't going for it. As he put it, your mother said, "I have two choices. You can either sleep with the bowling ball or me." Thankfully, he made the right choice. Besides bowling, my dad enjoyed cooking. He wasn't just a cook, he was a true chef. He immersed himself with gardening. He was always looking for something new to grow, and he could grow just about anything. Fishing was another one of my dad's enjoyments. He was always ready to get out of the water and hang out with his buddies. Reading was also a big part of my dad's quiet time. He was very interested in current affairs and passionate about history. But my dad's greatest love, besides my mother and family, was golf. He loved being outside with people, doing something he enjoyed, and golf was it. Not to mention he knew everything about the game and was better than your average player. If you were out on the golf course with my dad, he always tried to make you feel as if you were the best of the bunch. He wanted everyone to love the game as much as he did. He would rather have some kind of new golf gear than money in his pocket. My dad was one of those people who could play golf every day, and sometimes he did. But why not? He worked hard for it. He was at his clubhouse so much, the members voted him as president. Ironically, the game that he loved would someday almost take his life. He was playing golf one day with my brothers up north when a stray golf ball hit him square in the head. Miraculously, it didn't even bring him to his knees. He was still standing upright. His golf game was over for the day. He was taken to the hospital, his head wound was sewn up, and he was released. When I saw his scar after the golfing incident, I said, "Dad, that's a nasty scar." And he said, "Yeah, but it makes me look tough." A few weeks later, he went to get plastic surgery, and they did a great job. You couldn't even tell he was hit by the golf ball. And there was another thing. In his later years, he grew to love candy and lollipops. Instead of "Where's my cigar?" it turned into "Where's my lollipops?" He was your regular Kojak. My dad and I are very close, and I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with him in my adult years. We worked together, played golf together, we were bowling together, and we went on trips together, ate and drank food together, and spent quiet time together. But in my mind, always fair. My dad was a good man. Sometimes he was misunderstood,